Welcome to The New Perspective, a channel dedicated to awakening consciousness. A place to join together with companions in our spiritual journey. Hi, this is Denny. Welcome to The New Perspective, where we join together in waking up to who we really are on our spiritual journey. And the first part of The New Perspective is we're spirit having a human experience. Now, how can we learn to live with that? How can we, when all of our memory has been wiped out and we find ourselves as these little small beings on planet Earth, how can we start to remember that we're really spirits? Well, in the beginning, we don't really think about any of this. We're just living our lives. And in that process of just living our lives, that's when the wounds begin to happen. That's when you overhear your friends making fun of you. Oh my God. Or that's when your parents start arguing and you're scared to death in your bedroom that they're going to get a divorce. And oh my God, what's going to happen to you? These are all the things that frighten that little child. And that little child still lives within us. And so as we mature and we start looking for partners, oftentimes we're drawn to those people, those men or those women that feel familiar. Those beings that are very much like our parents were. For women, we are so often drawn to the men that are the least emotionally available. Walk into a room, find a man who has nothing to give, and you got 10 women going, oh my God, I'm in love. Oh, if I could just get that one to love me, I know I'm going to be fine. And here we go, recreating the same thing. Or you walk in and my goodness, this woman feels so familiar, and isn't she fun? Hey, and she's great with a couple of drinks and then a couple of more drinks. And before you know it, hey, man, she's an alcoholic, just like my mother was. Pay attention. Pay attention to what you are drawn to. So many times in our lives, we say, boy, if that was my wife, boy, I'd never treat her like that. So you go out and find one created and you don't treat her like that, but the same crap happens. That's because it's in you. You're looking for something, and the people you seek it out from have nothing to give. And then you can blame it on you. My favorite thing, and I certainly hope I don't offend anyone, but I suggest to my women who are always feeling so bad that they're not good enough for their men, that they fall in love with a gay Catholic priest. Then they spend their entire lives beating themselves up. They're not correct sexually, and my God, I can't get him to give up his priesthood. See how silly we are. So it's like recognizing those parts of ourselves, just getting conscious, just allowing ourselves to see it, and beginning to recognize some of the stories that we were told, like, you can make me feel a certain way. Your mother says to you, when you do that, you make me feel so. No, darling, not at all. But it's put in there, and that's part of the brainwashing. That's part of the beliefs. Nobody makes you feel a certain way. All feelings are self-generated. Now, people may be able to trigger you, but they do not create your feelings. That is up to them to decide. If a feeling arises, it is up to them to check it out, to find out what was triggered. You're just walking through your life. See, these are the things that we begin to take on that don't even belong to us. So when we look back on our childhood, when we look back on the beginning of what it was to get here on this planet and how we developed this way, it is so important we allow ourselves compassion, understanding, compassion for our parents, compassion for our siblings, compassion for ourselves. We're all learning this stuff together. It's not until we wake up that we begin to see that there could be better ways to handle things. Our parents were unconscious. They loved us to the extent that they could, just as we love our children to the extent that we can. So in the midst of all of this, it once again becomes so important to look at it all through the eyes of love. Even the ones that hurt you, see them through the eyes of love. Hurt people, hurt people. Very, very important to remember. And if you're in a relationship where there's violence or extreme anger or those horrible, horrible verbal abuse, the question you ask yourself is, why am I here? Your part may be that you are sitting there allowing it. Why is that? Oh, so much to look at, to become conscious, not judgmental, just conscious. Don't judge it, just see it. The more you can see, the more you can wake up. The more you can begin to realize that the dysfunction is passed on intergenerationally. And when you see that, you've got a choice. So remember, as we learn to be spirits having a human experience, we get to wake up while we're doing it so that we can bring that consciousness of spirit in our everyday life. That's an option. Now, we can also stay fear-bound. That's an option as well. But remember, they're choices. Not one's better or one's worse, but you have choices. How are you going to live? You're going to live through love. You're going to live through fear. So until I see you again, time for all of us to wake up together to learn to choose love and choose love again. Bye.